In today's gospel, we find a series of roses and thorns, as described by Jesus to his disciples and the crowd who had gathered around. In Luke's gospel, described as blessings and woes, part of a sermon paralleled in Matthew's gospel as well. Rather than the 107 verses we hear in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew, Luke's gospel has Jesus only giving a 32-verse sermon known as the Sermon on the Plain. These verses might sound familiar as they are echoes of the well-known Beatitudes in Matthew, although here Luke puts a different spin on things. First, he identifies the blessings, or the roses. He identifies the poor, the hungry, the sorrowful, the excluded, the blessings. Most often we think of a blessing with happiness or good fortune. But in the Greek it holds a bit deeper meaning. It is beyond the superficial or material possessions. It is a word more closely connected to the sense of unity with God in an eternal sense, relating to righteousness and being in right relationship with our Creator. To be blessed meant living in an awareness of the presence of God. It is not to be free from struggle, but toward a reality where God is realized. In each of these blessings, the struggle comes with the promise of reversal. The hungry will be filled. The weeping will give way to laughter. The sorrowful will be comforted. The excluded will be accepted. The blessings took up the issues that Luke had introduced in Mary's prayer on the occasion of her visit to Elizabeth, the Magnificat. Mary sang of a God who lifted up the lowly, filled the hungry with good things, who scattered the proud, brought down the powerful, and sent the rich away empty. In the synagogue at Nazareth, Jesus, quoting from Isaiah, had celebrated the God who brought release to the captives, let the oppressed go free, and gave sight to the blind. The language used by Jesus, as well as by Mary, could suggest a reversal of fortunes through intervention by God. Future reversal and its fruits will always be factors of personal conversion. Luke's words are grounded in present reality, and our responses to them should be as well. Luke's location is different than Matthew's. In Matthew, we see Jesus taking his disciples to the mountaintop, looking down on the world around them and giving them the big picture. But in Luke, Jesus is on the plain with them. His words are simple, straightforward, and concrete. One translation of the location is that he is on the level, which hints that from this conversation, from Luke's perspective, is about Jesus being squarely in step with the realities of our human existence and speaking to us plainly about it. He looks to the disciples and the crowd with these statements as if to say, what are you doing right this minute? People are sick and dying right here, tormented by spirits. Will you get down here with me and help? In these verses, Jesus is on the level with us, telling us the truth of our lives as he sees it, and confronting us with our responsibility to be a part of God's kingdom with our response to what we see in the world. God calls us to be a part of the kingdom that Jesus modeled. Immediately prior to these verses, Jesus is surrounded by crowds seeking healing, which he offers. Throughout Luke's gospel, we find Jesus attending to the very real needs of the poor and suffering. We see Jesus acting with love and compassion in a powerful ministry of presence and calling his disciples to do the same. We can reach out to those who are hungry, that they might be filled. We can offer comfort to those who weep by reaching out with friendship and care that gives way to companionship. This would be challenging enough, but the gospel pushes us even farther, as Luke pairs these blessings with corresponding statements of woes. These are the thorns, examples given of things that are soon to be upended. These woes, unique to Luke, are tough ones to hear, especially if we find that they are descriptive of us. Jesus, speaking quite freely and plainly, calls us out of our comfort zone and says that the reign of God, here and now, is about something more than just our own accomplishments. Luke calls us to step aside from our preconceived notions of being blessed and be willing to embrace the kind of upside-down reversals that Jesus presents. Luke's version of the Beatitudes is meant to startle us out of our complacency and inspire us to action. These pairings, blessings and woes, roses and thorns, challenge us to look at our lives and our world through new eyes. They challenge us to clarify our values and examine what are the things in life that we will take a stand for in our relation to faithful living. Packed into these verses are very real instructions for the disciples, including us. These words from Luke are not a gospel of comfort, but a gospel of challenge to embrace the world with the love and peace of Jesus. In this Eucharistic Revival Year of Mission, may our love for Christ present in the Eucharist deepen, and we will be drawn to live out his mission, compelling us to serve others with his heart, living out our call to be his hands and his feet to our neighbors. In the poem, Do It Anyway by St. Mother Teresa, we're encouraged to continue doing good deeds even when we face criticism, lack of appreciation, or personal challenges. We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorn bushes have roses. The rose and the thorn and sorrow and gladness are linked together.